Welcome to episode 18 of Cooperators. Augmented Biscuits here with me always is
Chucking Dice. How's everyone going?
Sorry, we're a little tired. We're a little tired. We're actually today's a special episode. We're here at E3 2017, and today's E3 is actually special because they opened it to the general public.
Although we have industry pass.
We do have industry passes because we're awesome like that.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
It's very expensive to get.
It is very expensive. Yeah. I think what the fan pass is. You said you heard somebody saying
like $900.
$900, yeah, which is comparable to Comic-Con, isn't it?
I've never paid for Comic-Con. I've always gotten in for free for the industry pass. Yeah.
You should never pay for Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I think I went to Comic-Con once, and it was on somebody else's pass.
Right.
Yeah, which is nice. But, yeah, I don't think I would pay for Comic-Con.
Nah, it's not worth paying for.
There's a lot of people at Comic-Con.
Right.
Which is kind of what we're running into today. There's a lot of people here. But it's still really cool. They still haven't opened up the doors yet. Doors don't open until 10 for the exhibit floors. But we are looking forward to seeing, a bunch of new games announced in the press conferences they had this past weekend. We're looking forward to looking at some booths and stuff. I was looking at actually pictures earlier the week.
Yeah.
So today's the third day. I was looking at pictures from day 1 and day 2. They have some actually nice booth designs. Capcom has a giant statue of Ultron Sigma for the new Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity game.
Ultron Sigma.
Yeah, it's Ultron from the Marvel comics.
Right.
As Chucking Dice would know, and Sigma from Mega Man X series.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They merged together. And the whole story
that makes sense.
The whole storyline with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity is that they both hate organics, so they're trying to rid both respective universes of organics.
Oh, Sigma the bad guy.
Yeah, Sigma the bad guy,
okay.
from Mega Man X, yeah.
So they combined them?
Yeah, they combined them. The design doesn't look bad. It looks kind of cool.
Right.
He's got a lightsaber. Although it's because of Mega Man X, it's called Laser Sword or Laser Saber or something like that.
Oh, it's because of George Lucas. It's called Laser Saber.
Yeah, it's freaking Lucas and his goddamn trademarking. Is there anything you're interested in seeing today?
The VR stuff.
The VR stuff?
Particularly the adult stuff.
I get it. The real job simulators, you mean?
Yeah, I don't want to see anything else here except for adult porn. No, I don't really have any particular thing I'm looking forward to. I've actually never been to an E3, so this would be the first time for me. But from what I'm seeing, from previous is that it's just a trade convention. Yeah, I'll look at stuff, what's on display, see what the buzz is all about on certain games. I did see a couple of like videos online. One is the people who created Until Dawn. Mm-hmm. I guess it's like a sort of a party conspiracy game where it combines like a thriller, and people play on their phones, and like basically they decide certain like choices. Like, should you save the hostage or should you move on, kind of thing.
You always do what Keanu Reeves did in Speed and shoot the hostage. Actually, that was suggested by Jeff Daniels, and then he didn't realize he was going to be the hostage.
Right.
But he still suggested, like, shoot the hostage. And he gets a medal for shooting the hostage, which is great.
Like a game trophy.
Yeah. That's, like, my favorite Jeff Daniels role, is, like, him in that. It's just, like, I love Jeff Daniels. Can we just make this podcast, today's podcast about Jeff Daniels? Yeah.
Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
I did see the trailer to Evil Within 2. Not playing Evil Within 1, mind you. But that looks kind of neat. Saw a couple Nintendo things, and that's about it. Are we being joined here by someone?
Yeah. Our former coworker, Frank.
I guess we're using his real name then.
Should we use his real name? Should we use the handle? You want to say hi? Do you want us to use your real name? Sure. Frank. We'll just say Frank.
We'll just say, well, Frank.
Frank West. We'll just call him Frank West or Proto Man.
Proto Man.
What's going on?
Yeah, we're all here.
Yeah, we're all here. Want to grab a seat or something?
Yeah, go ahead. Grab a seat.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like, it's funny because like the first thing I wanted to do was go to the bathroom too.
I know,
because it was killing me.
Yeah, that's I just had my iced coffee or my cold coffee, and
I got that cold brew before we got here. So
I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to hit the bathroom soon. But yeah, again, doors don't open until 10, so we're just waiting.
we're mostly waiting for other people to arrive as well.
Yeah, we actually have a good group going.
Yeah.
That's one thing I think is good when you're going to a convention of this size is you never want to go alone because you can get burned out pretty quickly. Also, going in a group kind of helps, kind of lighten the mood, and in case you get bored, any boredom you might set in from walking around dealing with a lot of
just
crowds.
Don't. When I have that VR headset on me, don't talk to me. I'm thinking.
I'm gonna touch your shoulder at the most inopportune moment. Yeah, hopefully today is the last day, so hopefully the lines aren't too bad. I am looking forward to seeing a few games. I mainly want to see what kind of demo stations they have set up. Right. I doubt I'm going to play any of the bigger games like Destiny 2 or nothing related to Nintendo is going to be available.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, not that it's not going to be available, but there's going to be so many people at Nintendo. It's probably going to be ridiculous. But the nice thing is that they do have the other big three companies, Microsoft, well, actually, specifically Microsoft and Sony always have demo stations off to the side. They have a lot of games, so
right.
We'll probably check those out.
We'll be right back. We're going to take a breather, and then we'll talk about E3.
Welcome back to today's special E3 episode of Cooperators. With me, as always, is Chuck and Dice, and we also have two special guests. Joining us again is Proto Man and
Johnny Five.
So far, so good, gentlemen.
Yeah. Thank you. Right now we're having lunch, but we kind of wanted to talk about several things we saw, get some comments. First thing off, though, we should start off with Chuck and Dice playing Fish Story.
So I played this game called Fish Story. It's part of the Dream Machine 301. 300 games in one system. And don't tell me you haven't heard of Fish Story. So the story basically is you're a fish in the water.
You don't say. You're a fish?
You're a fish. And you eat other fish while avoiding bigger fish that eat you. That's the entire thing. That's the only game I got to play besides a Nintendo Classic Edition, which I played Mega Man 2 for a little bit. But I did not get to play anything else besides Fish Story because no one else would play Fish Story.
I looked at Fish Story and that was enough for me. What else did we see there?
I don't know. I don't know.
We saw a bunch of
Shantae, I guess.
We saw Shantae half Genie Hero for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
It looked good. I actually really like those platformers. Chuck and Dice, you said you played the original, right?
Yeah, on Game Boy Color. It's a pretty good game. It's actually a pretty good platformer back in the day. Kind of like a timeless kind of game. But the graphics look really great in the new version. I guess you can have multiple characters. I don't know.
Don't mind me, I'm just eating soup.
Yeah, that's fine.
We also saw a. Actually, we should have Proto Man discuss this game.
So, do you want to talk about that? It's a Super Soaker game. Go ahead and take it.
Wow, what can I really say? So it's a game where you play as a variety of young girls, all in various bathing suits, all with different guns that are Super Soakers, mind you. One's an assault rifle version, one's a shotgun version, one's a rocket launcher, and a Gatling gun. And you run around and shoot each other with water guns.
Now these are anime girls in bikinis.
Absolutely anime girls. And here's the best part. When you knock them down, you can do a finishing maneuver where it goes into a closer portrait of their body, and you can shoot off either their top bathing suit or their bottom bathing suit.
So it's way different than Fish Story. But I liked watching it a little too much. By the way, I could not find any VR porn.
No, we didn't find any VR porn. Johnny 5, did you find any VR porn?
I did not, and I was disappointed.
Now, for someone who enjoys VR porn as much as you do, I'm joking. Was there anything you liked that you saw?
Let's see.
Besides
here.
Fish Story.
Actually, I got to see the Nintendo Classic. The console was there. Someone was actually demoing it. So that was kind of neat. The elusive Nintendo
No one can
Classic.
get it anymore. It's off the
Apparently, yeah.
market. I kind of dug playing it because I was playing. I've been playing every rendition of Mega Man 2 to emulated versions to versions that you actually can get with the Mega Man collection that you can get on all the platforms. That Nintendo version actually controls a hell of a lot better than any of the other versions. Like, you can actually tell the difference because there's a section in there where you're when you're on Airman stage, and like I swear to God, it's a little slipperier. It's a little slippy in some sections when you're playing it emulated, and I'll like kind of fall off a platform if I'm not careful. But this one, it felt like the controls are tighter. I don't know. That's just me, who I used to play Mega Man 2 back in the day a lot.
I thought the Spider-Man booth looked cool.
Yeah, I didn't really get to see the game footage. I think Proto Man here.
I did see the footage. Looks great. It's very similar to what they showed at the PlayStation presentation, but still looks super slick. If you like the Arkham series of Batman games, I think you'll like the Spider-Man one. Similar combat, but
It's Miles Morales, not Peter Parker.
correct.
No, it is Peter Parker. But Miles Morales makes an appearance in this.
Oh yeah, he appears at the end. Spoiler.
And this is not the Marvel. This is not the MCU Peter Parker. It's not Tom Holland. It's like their own version of Peter Parker.
That I knew. I will say I think it looks infinitely better than the movie.
I think I should just watch this instead of the movie.
I'm gonna watch the movie because friggin' Iron Man's in it. And you know what? I was just kind of wandering around after a while. I just mentioned this before, but like it seemed like it was like the video game section of Comic-Con except expanded, and I still could not play anything except for some game. It was called Zwei. It was with the Shantae game. It was kind of a dungeon crawler game. It was whatever. And then of course Fish Story.
You're gonna talk about Fish Story for a long time.
That is the hit of E3 because I played it. First of all, there was no one at that demo station. No one wanted to play any of those games. They were all these sort of throwaway homebrew games that no one wanted to play. I thought it was hilarious though. And I'm like surprised. Like there wasn't much of a fandom here. But Proto Man said that was a different story yesterday. Tell us a little bit more about the crowd yesterday.
Yesterday had a lot more people. There was a line down the block, 9 o'clock. They didn't open till 10. Most of it was the general public, which is obviously new this year. But they stormed every major area. The Nintendo booth was full for the whole day by 10:02, and they let people in at 10 o'clock. PlayStation Experience filled up within 1 minute of the app going live at 9:30. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it didn't seem like there was many people today. I'm wondering if like maybe they got a taste of it yesterday and they were just like, okay,
But they have another napkin too.
I get it. Like maybe it's not as a big deal as it was. Like people kind of hyped it up to be.
when you get the pass for 3 days, you go 1 or 2 days, maybe max. This is my second day, and I didn't play anything today yet, but I'm not really itching to play, so I can understand people being like, I got my fill in day 1 or day 2. By day 3, they're kind of spent. So if they go, they just kind of either relax or they don't go.
Or play Fish Story.
So we're back from our lunch, and there are a few things we were discussing. Obviously, Fish Story.
Obviously, Fish Story.
Because Chuck and Dice is not going to stop talking about Fish Story.
Nope.
What else were we talking about?
Well, there was Fish and Story. And
we were talking about the attendance for E3 and how...
Well, it seems pretty packed in there, and I would say it's comparable to almost like a Comic-Con crowd, but I guess Proto Man was telling us that there was way more populated the day before, and obviously probably maybe 2 days after that when it all first started. I don't really get why anyone would want to come to this if they're not part of media, if they're not part of the press, because it seems to be that this is geared towards announcements and stuff. I don't know why people would want to be interested in playing any of the demos, because eventually these demos were probably going to make their way onto the internet or wherever online stores so they can download and try it out. I think that's the reason why they're made. It just doesn't seem like a public interest thing. It's not like they have celebrity panels. I mean, maybe they do, and we haven't been to one or whatever. But it's not like it's not that experience that you would probably get at a Comic-Con, like getting a sneak peek to like a movie, or meeting your favorite comic book artist, or meeting like a celebrity star or director or whatever, or just in general buying anything. Because like most of the conventions I go to, it's you pay to get in, but then there's a bit of a storefront.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Fish Story alone can't carry this place.
I love how serious you are about that too.
Because that's because that's my experience right now. It's like, okay, I got to go to E3. There's all these amazing games around, but there's lines like around the bin that I don't want to wait in.
Yeah.
And the only thing that didn't have anyone there is that Dream Machine, like 301, crap shovelware games.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like looking like Fish Story.
Well, our very own Rando Evans did win a Burger Time T-shirt.
Yeah, at that same booth.
Yeah.
So that's why that booth is so important.
Which honestly, that T-shirt's actually pretty awesome.
It is actually pretty cool. I don't really like that. It's kind of that gray sort of.
It's kind of like
gym.
That's what
kind
Jim
of.
says. Now, you were talking about this is the first time you're coming to E3.
Yeah.
You came to E3 and there was all these amazing games that you wanted to play that or
Right.
you were interested in it, but because of the lines being so long, you were really only able to play Fish Story.
Yeah.
Now, as somebody who was able to get in free with an industry pass, I would say the flip side of that is, as a fan who comes to E3 and pays, what do we say, like $1,000
Like $1,000 or
for a
something like
3-day
that, yeah.
pass? I know we talked about this during lunch. I would be upset if I paid $1,000, I came to E3,
Yeah.
and I spend my entire day waiting in line to play 10 minutes of a demo.
Yeah.
And that's what we're actually seeing a lot of right now. And I feel like past E3 experiences weren't like this.
Right.
Because, again, it wasn't open to the general public. You had a lot of exhibitors, and it was really only an industry trade event. But I also read and seen that attendance was down. People were trying to get away from E3.
Right.
Perfect example, Sony and Microsoft, a lot of the big publishers are doing their own conferences, and
Just kind of like Nintendo does their own.
Yeah, they do their own conferences, usually Saturday or Sunday night. Monday, actually, they start Sunday, and it actually leads all the way up until Monday night.
Right.
Which seems nowadays kind of like more ideal for the home viewer, but also for the general public, because why would you stand in line for 5 hours to play a demo that's probably going to come out in a month or two? Like, perfect example, our friends were at the Square Enix booth,
Right.
and they saw the Final Fantasy 12 HD remake, Zodiac Age.
Yeah.
The game's coming out tomorrow, I believe.
But it's like up in display
But
here.
it's in display here, and the wait time to play the demo was like an hour, like 1 or 2 hours. So why would you subject yourself to that?
I mean, I don't understand why people go to Comic-Con either, because they'll see an exclusive trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, that trailer is like a year ahead of its time of like the feature film release, and so I kind of get it. They feel special.
Yeah.
But here, I don't see anyone feeling special. I see, and I'm not trying to knock the event. I'm sure it's great for like a media outlet where you need to report this stuff, and they have to create a good buzz about their game. But in general, for the sort of I guess the general public or the everyday gamer, I don't really. There's nothing appealing here. There's not a lot of people doing cosplay.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that kind of event.
And honestly, I think talking about this, I kind of feel like this is where E3 is going to head eventually. I think it's going to head into a similar convention like Comic-Con.
Yeah.
They're going to allow the general public. I mean, very limited, but they're still going to allow the general public. I think more people are going to start cosplaying. I think it's honestly just to become another convention. It's not going to become an industry-only convention.
Right.
But I think that's what they are. I think that's what the planners of E3 are trying to move towards, because they see a lot, like I said, they see a lot of these big publishers leaving.
Yeah.
So they're like, how can we keep attendance up? How can we keep the interest? Just turn it into a fan event.
Yeah, because like I mean, I like I've read stories about E3 in like various biographies, like Nintendo's biography. I've read it in like Masters of Doom, which is a biography of like how Doom was created and stuff like that. And they seemed to like it seemed to be the key thing was we're going to show this like game that's probably not going to be released in a while, but we're going to give the public the taste of it. But the one that they want to give it towards is the publishers or the people who would be interested in like selling the game in a store, like Babbage's or back in the day Babbage's. Now I think it's Games. What's it?
EB Games.
Yeah.
Or GameStop. Now it's
GameStop. Yeah. Or Electronic Boutique, which I think those two kind of combined became GameStop. I don't think there's a lot of that anymore. I think the sort of online front has kind of all but killed a lot of those sort of specialty stores. There's a couple independent ones, but I think they make more of their money on the retro market. So yeah, I guess it can turn into a gaming fan fest. I don't know exactly who would they want to come to this. Maybe game designers to talk about stuff, like talk about their story. I mean, there's a lot of great documentaries on game designers out there. I think Indie Gamer was one of them. The what's it called, the story of the Atari story and such, so on and so forth. So that'd be kind of cool. But like I kind of get that at RetroCon that we attended like a couple months ago, and I liked that convention because it was small. We got to listen to a panel that was very interesting. It was by the gaming historian. So if that becomes like a bigger version of this, first of all, I don't know how popular it would be because this has some I guess tradition, I guess, and like I don't know if you like getting free T-shirts. Sure,
there's not a lot of swag here.
Yeah, there's not a lot of swag here. I was always told, they give a whole lot of swag out because they were trying to get people to buy into the game, like put money into it and stuff. Now we got Kickstarter, we got crowdfunding. So maybe we don't need that anymore. I mean, it's really interesting because I've kind of pretty much come to the point where this particular event is like in transition, and I think it's sort of in transition of like it's not what it used to be. It doesn't know what it's going to be in the future, but it's probably going to drive towards like appealing to fans. But I think they got to do a little bit more than just have demos set up because I can demo game at home. And honestly, I would like that more than sitting in line with a bunch of sweaty people.
I think honestly, what it might end up coming down to is they might just get rid of the booths altogether and just have a lot of demo stations. They might just break it up as one hall is a kind of staging area for press conferences and kind of reveals and stuff like that, or any talks that people want to be a part of, and then the other hall is nothing but demo stations.
Just nothing but demo stations.
But the thing is, you also understand E3 also is a place that a lot of meetings happen. A lot of business and a lot of developers, a lot of publishers show up, and they have backroom meetings. There's a lot of backroom demos that the general public doesn't hear about. There's also a lot of PR that goes on, PR deals that happen in these at this convention. So
which is fine.
I think there's still a need for this, but I don't know. It's weird. I think you're right. I think we are in a transitional period. Like, I think E3 is trying to see where they can go next.
Right. And I saw some of the virtual stations, and like some of them were sort of semi-short lines. I just wasn't really interested because I don't have any gear that wants me to take that step to create like a virtual VR home system. It's way too expensive right now for me, and I don't really care for it. I'm looking at the games. I don't see the big deal on some of them, but I guess that's really just people trying to kind of cultivate the interest for publishers and platforms and such, so that they'll buy into it. Like I don't know, this probably could be combined with like like a board game convention, and maybe that'll be a little bit more popular and appealing. I just don't see the sudden appeal I guess for the public, since it's the first time they were invited. it doesn't have that sort of star power as like a Comic-Con, a San Diego Comic-Con, or even like a New York one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's weird. They're in a weird transition. They're trying to up their attendance numbers, but I still enjoy coming here. It's not something, as I get older, it's not something I want to spend too much time with, but it is something that I do enjoy. I mean, I liked being part of the industry when I was part of it, and I liked being here, but...
Well, you seem to know a lot of people, too, who work the booths and such.
But it's also, again, as I get older, I'm not sure if it's even feasible. I mean, today really was kind of like my breaking point with E3. Last year wasn't too bad. I mean, I walked around, I played some demos, I played some games, but I wasn't really sure if I still wanted to come, especially after the companies have their conferences, starting Sunday night and Monday all day.
Sure.
So I don't know. I think this opening it up to the public has kind of solidified my desire to not come anymore.
I mean, I'm kind of unsure.
I mean, you kind of share the same sentiment with Comic-Con, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of unsure if I even want to like come next year. I mean, I guess I've experienced it, and to me it's kind of no big deal. Again, I have more fun at like smaller conventions like Monsterpalooza. I have more fun at like conventions like the retro convention, the RetroCon. Even Kamikaze, that's actually held in the Staples Center, the same place that E3 is being held.
Yeah.
Like, I prefer those. This, I don't know, not so much. I mean, did you see anything interesting that appealed to you?
There was games that I would have liked to play.
Let's go there.
But it's not something that I wanted to necessarily wait in line for. It's not something that, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, there was obviously stuff I wanted to work on. I wanted to play, but at this point, it's not really something I wanted to be part of it,
Yeah.
Was there anything you wanted to look at?
Well, I did see Fish Story, and that's a hard act to follow.
So, I mean,
I kind of wanted to check that PlayStation 4 game that were created by the people who made Heavy Rain.
What was it called?
Being Human or almost
Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit. Yeah.
Detroit something.
Yeah. Becoming Human. That sort of interests me just because I have, one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 3 was Heavy Rain. Mm. To this day, I really dig that game and kind of dug what the designers were trying to do. And for the most part succeeded. And so this was supposed to be one that had a hell of a lot more choices. And they actually had it, demoing at the around the PlayStation area. It looks cool. I couldn't get anywhere close to it because the line was wrapped around. And I just didn't want to stick around to see any more of it because there were so many people around us that I didn't really had hardly time to breathe. Now that's just me and my personal space issues. Like people who do that, more power to them and such. But I wish there was a little more things where I didn't have to wait in line for. Which is kind of like a tough thing to ask for nowadays at a convention center.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but like when you're at one of these bigger conventions, you're always waiting in line.
Honestly, I think one year where I really enjoyed myself is actually the year I came with my wife. And one thing we did enjoy was we were able to get into essentially a demo showcase of somebody playing the game.
All right.
So it was in-game footage, but somebody was playing through, and it was mainly for press, but we were able to get in just because we were there, because they just kind of let anybody in. I think nowadays they don't do that. You actually have to be pressed to get in. But it was nice because we didn't have to wait in line. We saw a slice of the game that's on the floor. Actually, we saw stuff that was further than the demo available, and it was cool, but we didn't have to sit in line. So I think if they had more of those kind of like smaller segments where you can just sit down and watch people play the game, show you what's coming up, I mean, that's great. In addition to the demo stations. But it is nice that there's a lot of stuff on here. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of games out here that are nice to look at. Kind of get a sense of where they're going, what you're looking forward to. But it is, I mean, just like any other convention, it can be tiring.
Yeah, I mean, and I get that because this is a 4-day affair. So I guess that gives you enough time if you do want to wait on lines. But like from the side of it, it's like you can wait in 4 lines, one for each day. It just like right now it just seems like it's not a fan convention, and it's still like a media event. Do they have like competitions or anything like that? I mean,
competitions
like I don't know, like a Street Fighter tournament or something like that.
Sometimes they do. I think they had one at Nintendo for ARMS.
Yeah.
I think they had a tournament. Sometimes they have special events like tournaments or I know for anything multiplayer, like I saw Battlefront 2 out there.
Right.
They sometimes actually have matches against developers. Yeah. It really just depends. It depends on the whim of the developer and the company. So, yeah. I mean, I know you see that more at like Comic-Con or like.
Right. Well, RetroCon they had a Galaga tournament.
Yeah, they had a Galaga tournament, but I don't think you see that so much here. Again, I think as E3, if E3 really is pushing the convention more towards a traditional convention like Comic-Con, I think you'll see more of that stuff on there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, I've never been to Dragon Con, but I really think that like a lot of this buzz just comes from pre-internet stuff. I mean, there was internet before, but like
there's also that kind of like mystifying presence of E3 from years ago.
Years ago, yeah. Like,
because E3 doesn't have a history, so.
But I guess it, wasn't the same. I wonder if, like, back in the day when people were first going to E3, it's like, this is no big deal.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side of non-E3 related news, we actually are both actually going to looking at starting to stream our own Friday the 13th playthroughs.
Yeah. We're going to try.
That's something we're both horror fans. We were talking about this earlier in the podcast, but we're both huge horror fans. We both really appreciate the Friday the 13th series. And, for me watching the Friday the 13th documentary,
Crystal Lake Memories. I actually did finish that over the weekend. Yeah,
it's very long.
6 hours long, almost.
6 hours long. Yeah, because they go through every single movie, but it's great.
Yeah, they go through every single movie, comic books, and television show, which I was like really happy that they did that because I was a big fan of the television show.
Yeah.
Even though it had nothing to do with Jason.
What was great too was when they were interviewing the guys, the producers for the TV show. They wanted to loop back to Jason. I think one of the things that they want
the hockey mask, the cursed hockey mask.
One of the cursed items was the hockey mask. Yeah. So that's one thing we both. I know Chuck and Dice, you do own the Friday the 13th game.
Yep.
So that's something we're gonna look at.
It's about $40 right now, which is actually a decent price for it. If you want to get like a hard copy version, I think it's like $60. But
really, the hard copy is $60.
Yeah, well, you're mainly paying for that case.
Oh, okay.
Because it's collector's item. I don't know how many they printed. But the $40 game will get you everything, and plus at least the downloadable content that's coming out later this summer, which is supposed to be a solo play of Jason fighting a bunch of counselor bots. That doesn't sound exciting, but like if you really are terrible at Jason like I am, you need to practice. And unfortunately right now the only way you can practice is against like a bunch of counselors that half of them probably have been playing this game since the beta. And the other half are just a bunch of noobs.
How is the community now? Are they getting are they experts now at playing the game?
The other day I was playing with a guy who's like level 36, but he says he still has fun with the game because first of all, Jason's a freaking tank. You can't kill him by easy means. There's actually a specific way you need to kill Jason, and it does involve a lot of the conclusion to like it comes from the films, basically. It's like a pastiche of like different ways Jason got killed in the movies. But most of the time, if you encounter Jason, you can hit him once and run away. You basically need to inconvenience him. There's really no health bars. Like if Jason hits you once and grabs you, you die. If he hits you 3 times, you die. If you don't find any kind of healing, like first aid spray or whatever. Sorry, what was your question?
What was that?
What would you ask again? I kind of went on a tangent.
Yeah. I guess my question was just like, for somebody like me, if I was to jump on, I know there's a lot of people who are, as far as the community being welcome to like beginners.
Oh yeah,
like if you do go in there, I know you were talking about that you like the community right now because a lot of it's older people.
Who are fans of the film. My favorite thing is like walking around and seeing something like an Easter egg from one of the films. One of the things that I pointed out when we found Jason's shack, where his mother's dismembered head lies, is that there's actually a toilet bowl in there. And that actually was in Friday the 13th Part 2 when a police, like a sheriff, found Jason's shack and was looking around. And it's in the exact same place where it was in the movie. And I pointed that out, and like someone said, "Oh yeah, that's from Part 2, right?" And it's like, yeah. So it seems to be mostly played by people who really like the films, and they know that the score. They know Henry Manfredini, did the score of the movies. They know, like they when Jason comes, when a person's chosen to be Jason, like commonly people pick different types of Jasons. So when they see their version, like killing the counselors in the opening scene, they know that they're going to be Jason. So yesterday, a person came up and it was like the Part 7 Jason. I was like, oh, it's Part 7. Who's got Part 7? Like, oh, I do. And it's like, all right, you're Jason. So it's like this, community of like game players, like young game players, people who love the movies, and you don't have to be an expert to play this game just because it's a very simple game. I think the one thing it doesn't appeal to is hardcore gamers, because they're looking for something beyond the experience,
More polished,
and like I get that, but like this is a license-based game, and it's like I think to me at that perfect level of if you're aware of the franchise, this perfectly is a good example of that franchise. I mean, I don't when I play Friday the 13th game, I don't expect like a first-person shooter where you have 9 million weapons that you switch around and you can kill Jason every round. I expect an unkillable killer coming after me, and I have to get out of there. Or if I'm working well with the team, then we're going to try and kill him. But it's going to be tough.
Now, as far as one thing that kind of concerns me is that, jumping in the game as a beginner, what are the chances of me running into people who are going to be like basically killjoys and they're just going to do their own thing?
Well, I've noticed that if they have a headset, they're a little bit better in communicating. I know that's not going to be 100% because there's always going to be a joker who is just going to be an ass bag about it. I've noticed that games where I am playing with people who don't have a headset, or perhaps maybe don't speak English, because I'm not sure if this game is worldwide. I think it is. Actually, I know it is because it's in the UK as well. Then that's going to be a little bit difficult. It won't be as fun. That's why I want to play with friends, because people will always be talking. But maybe people will find that as appealing, because you can't exactly win that game unless you're really good at it and you're really all about saving your own skin. But communication is pretty much key in that game, and it actually helps with the atmosphere as well. Because I love it when like people are like walking around and saying like, I got the battery. It's like, okay, I got the keys. And then it's like, all right, I got the gas. All right, let's converge to the car, but be slow about it.
Yeah.
Let's don't run to it, because Jason's going to head there. And when you get there, don't approach it. Give it a couple seconds if he's not around, because Jason can nest in areas and such where he can just be waiting for you. And then people just work together. Meantime, someone will be a distraction. Like, I'll be in the corner, just come by and pick me up. And people are just kind of working together to figure how to kill Jason or how to escape Jason. Yesterday I was playing with a guy who's at a higher level, and he's like I can get the battery. I've already put the gas in the car, and there's someone going to meet us with the key. So can you guard me as I, take the battery? I'm just like, yeah, sure. And I'm at a lower level, but I can still swing a weapon. And so, I'm just following him around, and I have his back. If Jason does appear, I'll take a slash at him, and I'll go, run. And in that particular game, we actually, we put the battery in the car and we drove off.
Nice.
And one person driving and the other person maneuvering the map, telling him where to go. Like, take a left here, take a right here. Okay, keep on going straight, and then we're free.
Now, during that drive, can Jason still come out and kill you?
Yeah, he if he steps in front of the car, Like if the driver drives directly towards Jason, he can't run him over because Jason will automatically like take his fist down and pound on the car, and it'll stop. And it takes a while for it to start again. You either have to drive around him or drive backwards, which has happened a couple times. In the game too, like you can, like one of the other, I guess not really, I guess an Easter egg or a callback to the movie is that you can find a radio to call this character named Tommy Jarvis. And if you guys are a fan of the film, Tommy Jarvis is like one of the few like reoccurring characters in the Friday the 13th movies. In fact,
wasn't that
he was Corey Feldman in the first one, yeah. He was I can't remember the second guy's name, John something or other. And in the last one, he's played by Tom Matthews.
Does he get killed in the last one?
No, he doesn't. Like Tommy Jarvis is like kind of this, like in the fourth movie, he's the one who kills Jason, like what I call like mortal Jason. Jason, at least in 1 through 4, he wasn't so much a dead zombie character. He was just like a disfigured, crazy strong hillbilly. So in the fourth one, he kills him by tricking him by like appearing as like cutting his hair off and kind of appearing to him as Jason when he was younger to kind of confuse him, and then he gets distracted and they start slashing him with like a machete. And his name is based on Tom Savini, who's a makeup artist who worked on Friday the 13th. The second one, he kind of becomes it's played by a different actor. He's sort of like a traumatized teenager. Corey Feldman's in the beginning of the film, but only as a flashback, because at that time he was like shooting The Goonies, but he still liked the franchise or wanted to work on it, so they actually shot a little sequence in the beginning. But when he wakes up, he's older, and it's really funny. Like the fifth movie, it's kind of my favorite, just because how it's produced and how like just wacky the plot line is. But that's the one that's not really Jason. And so in the fifth movie, he's in the halfway house, and like there's a scene where he basically is like this badass fighter, because I guess maybe he was like training his body to that eventual like confrontation of Jason that he's expecting, which comes in the movie. But he doesn't do a thing. He gets beaten up. It's mostly this kid named Reggie the Reckless taking down Jason. So in that movie, they kill Jason, and they spoiler alert for everyone who hasn't seen these movies. It's been around since for 20 years. They kind of conclude that Tommy might become the next serial killer. So it's going to be Tommy Jarvis the killer, not Jason Voorhees, because he's been so traumatized by the events as a child. Now in the next movie, they actually did away with it. It's kind of like this thing that Jason movies do, is that they introduce something but don't,
like kind of like a concept that they want to run. They want to run with, and then they no.
And they don't. I'd say Part 6 is my favorite one, because it's directed by this guy named McLaughlin, and he decided to direct Jason like a universal horror movie. So if anyone is a fan of Friday the 13th Part 6, watch it in black and white. You get a different feel for it. It does look like an older film, but with lots of murdering in it. But that's the one that's in the game, the Tom Matthews, who's like friends with George Clooney back in the day. He plays the Jason, and he plays the Tommy Jarvis in the game. He voices him as well. And like in the game, you can call him via a radio, and if two people die in the game, the first or second person comes back as Tommy Jarvis, and he has a shotgun that can put down Jason for a long time.
He's supposed to have really good stats, right?
Yeah, he's the fastest. He's the one who doesn't lose composure. You have composure, because if you're close to Jason, you'll get scared, and like you'll be like more clumsy. If you run, you'll start tripping around. Tommy's the fastest. He has the most composure, and he won't. If he's facing Jason, he won't lose as fast. That doesn't make him invincible though, because if Jason catches up with him, he can get his head crushed and get killed. He's got the highest stamina. He's a little hard to kill, and yeah, he's like the fastest guy. He runs crazy fast. he's the one I like using just because I'm so bad at the game. The one person I use is Jenny Myers, who's the girl next door, whose outfit looks exactly like the final girl in Part 3. It's got like a striped shirt with these like pink jeans. She's also pretty uber cute as well. She looks kind of like a Jennifer Lawrence kind of character. But she has like really high composure, so she won't panic as much when she sees Jason. The other guy I like to use is the preppy. He's got the sweater, just because I love the look, the expression on his face when he sees Jason. It's like this like constant terror. But it's a really fun game. I do recommend everyone like at least trying it if they're a fan of the movies. If they're not a fan, then it's probably not going to be for them.
Yeah, I've seen a lot about that. You either love the game or you hate it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean it's better than the NES version.
Yeah, so we'll definitely start streaming that pretty soon. Anything else?
I don't know. Have you been playing anything new? We want to try a Killing Floor.
Yeah, Killing Floor did come out on PSN.
Killing Floor 2, right?
Killing Floor 2 came out for the PS Plus game this month. I also did pick up. They have it on sale right now. Dying Light, which was actually a co-op game.
Right.
First person parkour zombie simulator.
Parkour.
So
how much was it?
You actually get the complete game, so it's like the main game plus all the DLC and the second the one expansion they released. I think right now it's $14.99, I believe.
$14.99? That's not bad.
Or it's either $14.99 or $19.99, but I think it's $14.99. But it's co-op. There's actually drop in, drop out co-op. It's first person. You actually, so the story behind Dying Light, this is actually a fairly old game, so for those of you who already know, you can kind of skip this. You get dropped into a city that's overrun with the variation of the rabies virus, and it's turning people into zombies. So, and you're actually
like a 28 days later kind of thing.
kind of like, so you get dropped in and you're kind of like, you're actually an undercover government agent looking for a certain person.
That's trained in parkour.
Yeah, just trained in parkour. You're looking for a certain person who has like early plans for a vaccine, and that's how you start your game off. But the cool thing is actually this is a very fun game to play, mainly because the way you move is it's actually similar to Mirror's Edge. It's first person.
Right.
You can run. You can mantle over things. You can climb things. Very very much like Mirror's Edge. Also, the weapons, you have guns, which aren't advised because just like 28 days later, noise attracts the zombies. So you actually have a lot of melee options, and you can actually build your own melee weapons. Like you can build a melee weapon where it's like a machete with an electric battery on it, so it's an electrified machete, or like a gasoline covered baseball bat, so it's like a flaming bat, or you just get a bunch of nails and a baseball bat and you hammer in and you get like a spiked baseball bat.
Right.
So you can build all these kind of things, but it's just a really fun game. They also do have a level up system similar to like an RPG where you progress, you gain levels and you progress. You actually probably like this. They actually have one ability where it's a zip line. You essentially turn into Spider-Man. You like point your zip line at something and it attaches and it zips you right to that.
You right through there.
So it's like being Spider-Man.
Like we're Batman.
So it's really fun. I haven't played this co-op, but that's one thing I'm actually really interested in playing is the co-op because I heard it's really fun when you play it with another person.
Right.
So that's one thing I'm playing right now, and then I actually picked up Wolfenstein: The New Order. Again, another fairly old game.
Is that the poster that we?
Yeah, so they actually revealed that they're making a sequel that's coming out, I think, later this year.
Okay.
But I picked up the first game because it's actually a really good game.
I played it a long time ago, but
gameplay-wise, it's fun. It's a little difficult, but it's still kind of like a fun Nazi America, or not Nazi America, but Nazis won World War II.
So like a Man in High Castle storyline.
Yeah, kind of like a Man in High Castle. It's actually a really fun game. So I'm playing those. I haven't really been playing any newer games. There hasn't really been anything out. I think the last new game I played was Prey.
Prey?
Yeah, so not really much, but I am looking forward to playing those Killing Floor co-op and
Friday the 13th.
Hopefully, Dying Light, but I definitely want to pick up Friday the 13th.
One thing I want to mention about E3 is that there's a lot of advertisement for Crackle, the sort of movie outlet.
Yeah, so Crackle's a big...
Which you can get for free now.
Yeah.
Or actually it's before as well.
Crackle's kind of a big platform for like a lot of movies and streaming shows and things like that.
I was there last night, actually, ironically enough, like just downloading Crackle on my PS4, and I went straight to Sleepwalker the movie, starring Mädchen and Mick.
Yeah, Crackle's an interesting platform. They have a lot of advertisement for Twitch, obviously.
Right, on that.
For streaming events. But yeah, there's a lot of Crackle around here.
What do they have, like a deal with Nintendo
I don't
or
know.
something?
I think Crackle. I think
Because
Crackle.
they're like all the bathroom mirrors are covered with Crackle.
I think Crackle's kind of one of those platforms that needs to advertise quite a bit. Because I am not even sure what the hell Crackle is, and I work in like post production, and
It's got movies and television show, but it has commercials. So I'm assuming that you can actually pay for a certain amount to get it without commercials.
Mm-hmm. Similar to like Hulu.
Yeah, but it's like a channel now. So it's like a television channel to me. But I don't know. They got Sleepwalker, and like most of the movies are unedited. So
wait, Sleepwalker, the Stephen King one?
Stephen King's Sleepwalker. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. You need
where the mother and her son were.
Eat your vegetables. Those are the rules.
I love that she stabs Ron Perlman in the back with the corn cob.
The corn cob. My favorite scene is Mädchen and Mick's dancing in the beginning to "Do You Love Me." Those are ridiculously
it's such a bizarre movie. It's it's also pretty dark. Like they stealing life force from like young
people,
women and people.
But like cats are weapons against them.
Yeah, but they themselves are cats.
That's what I'm really confused about.
Like, aren't they like cat people?
They're humanoid cat people, but the cats can actually kill them.
Yeah.
It's like a weird mythology.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. Anything else?
No. Do we talk about Fish Story?
Yes, we talked about Fish Story.
Just want to make sure about that. That's going to be one of the keywords. So if you're a big Fish Story fan, I know and I understand. I played it at E3. Pathetically enough.
I love that your first E3, the very first E3 you've ever been to, you couldn't play any games but Fish Story because everything had a 5-hour wait.
Well, one thing I was glad that I got to play was that Nintendo Classic Edition finally, because I can't, ever play it at a...
Yeah, it's a shame that they canceled those.
Yeah, or can't buy it, so...
It's okay, they're going to have the SNES Classic soon.
Well, yeah, they'll probably, outsell those. I'm just going to be playing that new... I'm going to get that new Nintendo DS. 3DS, I guess. Or no, 2DS, I don't know.
The 2D one. That one's coming out soon, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, because, I told you, the one I bought used my 3DS.
It's all janky?
Yeah, it's all janky and stuff. Won't start sometimes.
Why don't you... have you tried taking it somewhere to get it, see if they can repair it?
I didn't know that they did those.
I think you should look up. I think there's places that repair systems like that. But yeah, so I think that's going to wrap it up. Quite a bit of E3 talk and us criticizing E3 because we fucking hate E3 now. It's funny. Like, as much as we kind of griefed about E3, we actually did enjoy ourselves. Mainly just because we all kind of came as a group.
Right.
I think that's definitely the way to do it. It's coming as a group.
And Fish Story is saving grace for me, I guess.
Yes, Fish Story is a saving grace. So
I'll do some playthroughs for Fish Story.
Yeah.
They'll be 5 minutes long.
Yeah, so I think that's it.
That's it. All right.
So thanks for listening.
Yep. See you.